Stacy. Stacy
Thank you.
Stacy is going to be one of 32 authors at the Holiday Book Festival in Milford, Michigan, taking place on Saturday, November 11th from 11 to 5 in the Kensington Mill Falls events. Welcome, welcome. So happy that you're going to be able to join us. And Stacy is a new to me author, which is great. I am loving this because I've seen so many new authors. We added in this time the author interview, so fabulous. So, Stacy, tell us a little bit about your what. Well, you've got one book that you'll have at the festival. Tell us about that book.
Well, the book is called Grandfather's Whispers, and it's my debut novel, so it's my very first one that I'm publishing. I've got many more in the works because I've been working on this book for the last 14 years. It was just time to get it out. But there will be a lot more coming on its way.
So tell us about the book itself. What can you tell us about it?
Sure. Grandfather's Whispers is about a 17-year-old girl on the cusp of adulthood who is in a medical crisis. And while she is in the ethereal realm, she visits her grandfather, and he takes her through her memories and help guides her in trying to discover why she's there in the first place, and also to help her make a decision that will not only set the precedence of her life, but the lives of those around her. And basically, I started this book because I wanted to capture my own grandfather's soul. So I think I kind of did that in this book. And the grandfather is just such a heartwarming character. I think everyone will love him.
Do you have a copy of the book with you?
I do. I do. There it is.
That is in the book.
I'm sorry, you're cutting out on me. Ooh. We've lost Mandy Jo. Hold on. She might be back.
Okay, there we're back.
All right.
we had a tree fall on a line over here, so the internet hasn't been that great ever since.
Oh no.
So you live up in the Thumb area of Michigan. Tell us about your family. You have.
I've lived in the Port Huron area practically most of my life. Just like Sarah Miller, my main character in Grandfather's Whispers, traveled around the United States when I was a kid and kind of settled down here in the Thumb area. My mom just loved the waterways and just the community and everything. And she says, we're not going anywhere. So we stayed here, and most of my book is written about the state of Michigan and the Thumb area, as well as certain landmarks in the Port Huron area. There is a school some natives to Port Huron will recognize, as well as an old mechanic shop that is now a coffee shop today. They'll recognize that inside the book as well. I currently live on the suburbs of Port Huron with my family. I have a husband and 2 stepdaughters and a 8-year-old son. Both my stepdaughters are fully grown, and one has already given me a grandson, so I'm really excited about that one.
Fun.
Yeah, and I currently reside at home with my mom and my stepdad as well. So we're playing caregiver and just having a full household.
That is a really big household.
Yes.
And you've got a bunch of books that you're currently writing as well?
Yes, that is correct. I'm currently working on a 5-part modern fantasy series. The first book is fully written. The second book is half written. I do have to go back in the first book and change a couple of scenes just because I finally solved the problem with my, antagonist, and it also created another plot twist within the series. So it, it's a fascinating journey. But I have the whole entire series mapped out, and I'm hoping to publish that first book in 2026.
Okay, not till 26.
Yes. Yes.
So you're gonna write all of the complete set and then publish one,
No,
or okay,
no. I'm writing as I go along. So like I
okay,
said, the first book is done. It just needs
mm-hmm,
a couple of added scenes or edits to certain scenes.
mm-hmm.
And then I go through the grueling editing process, which I like to
Ah,
take my time on.
okay,
And that's why it's not going to be
understood.
ready until 2026. And also, I'd like to try and query agents. I queried agents with this first book,
Ah,
wasn't
okay,
successful. Of course, I didn't query quite as many either.
mm-hmm.
But I still want to try to present numbers to them with the first publication to see if I can get some success out of that before I try self-publication again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna try. So your first book is self-published,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
then your second one with this series, you're gonna try and get it traditionally published
Mm-hmm.
before going the self-publish route. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
ultimately my goal is to have an agent in traditional publishing.
Oh,
But
okay.
if it does, but I'm not patient either. So if it doesn't work out, then I'll do it myself. It's okay.
I understand. Like, but I'm not patient either.
No,
So
I'm not.
we may just have to go this other route.
Yeah,
I
precisely.
I love it. That's exactly why I self-publish, because
Yeah.
I don't have patience to wait for someone to get back with me and tell me if they want to publish my book.
Yeah, I had to think long and hard during this process in self-publishing this book
Yeah.
because my heart has always been set on traditional publishing, and I
Oh,
had
okay.
already queried 75 agents, but I just don't.
Wow.
I'm a full-time mom with a career, and
Okay.
I'm doing this part-time, so I just don't have the time to wait anymore. It's just I've got to push it.
I want it done now.
It's got to get done now.
I like it.
There's no more time.
So you have a full-time job, you mentioned. What do you
Yeah.
do in your other life?
In my other life, I am the grant and program manager of an economic development organization right here in Port Huron, Michigan. What I do is I manage the small business support hub grant that came through our organization for the Eastern Michigan Small Business Network. And also eventually down the line, because this is a new promotion, got a
Ah,
promotion from executive assistant to grant program manager. So
yeah.
eventually down the line, I'll be also researching and applying for more additional grants for the Economic Development Alliance of St. Clair County.
Very nice. So you
Yep.
are definitely busy. So your bio says you still have hobbies though.
I do. You got to keep sanity, so you have to put boundaries and find your fun stuff.
And I think I've come up with a new question for my authors when they go to register is, what musical instrument do you play? Because um, we have saxophone. I know my friend, she plays flute, you clarinet, and keyboard. So I mean, we can get a whole group together of authors.
We could create a band of authors, correct. Yes, I play tenor saxophone. That's my instrument, my sweet instrument of choice. I also play, I dabble with the piano, a
Hmm.
clarinet, the bass guitar. I think there's one other in there. I can't remember, but I've been all around. Just give me an instrument, I'll try it.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And it says that you like to creating arts and crafts. What kind of arts and crafts do you do?
Oh, simple cross stitch, crochet, um, just melding and putting things together that, my mom does. She does mixed media art. I love her mixed media art. I couldn't possibly do that. But I like to draw, and sometimes I like to do some painting. But it's more comic type painting,
Okay.
because it's dual tone colors, but not a whole lot of shading. That's what I normally do.
Nice. So very artsy and craftsy, and I see you also mentioned about hiking in nature, which in
Oh, I
Michigan,
love that.
especially in the Thumb area, you've got plenty of nature there.
Oh, it's my favorite thing to do. In fact, that's what I was doing when I decided to self-publish. I went on a nature walk in the Pine River Nature Trails, and
Mhm.
I know those trails like the back of my hand, and I couldn't resist to just I was taking pictures. Actually, I was taking pictures for the cover of this book. And last
Ah.
year we had so much rain. It was a
Mhm.
mosquito infestation everywhere in the middle of October, which never happens because you can
Mhm.
always go to those nature trails without mosquitoes in October. And here
Mhm.
I was trying to hold the camera steady, and they're biting me alive. It was
So
not
the cover
easy.
art is actually your pictures, which
Yes,
is
this is
awesome.
my picture and my artwork. Yeah, completely mine.
That's that that's even better. I mean, when you do your own cover art like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I also have a studio called Mommy Wright Studio. That's where all the photography comes in play. I do a lot of
Ah,
photography too. It's
very nice.
just creative all over the place.
I was gonna say lots of creativity. I love it.
Yes. Yes.
Nice. So, are you looking for your writing to eventually be full time or just part time?
I would like to retire into writing. So, I'm at that ripe age where I need to start thinking about what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. And writing has always been a passion of mine. So
Hmm.
that's why I'm pushing harder than ever to, make writing something I can retire into. The Gen X generation, we didn't save any money for retirement. So we got to find a way to make money in our retirement. So might as well do it with our passion, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Retire with your passion and you'll never work again because you'll
that's
enjoy what
right.
you're doing.
That's exactly right.
Exactly. You know, that's exactly it. So
Uh-huh.
at the Holiday Book Festival, you're going to be there with 31 other authors, which is awesome.
Hmm.
Um, let's see, you were not reading, but in the book cover contest.
Hmm.
Yay. Um, how did you come up? How did you pick which genre you were going to write in? Is that something that you've always read or just something that came to mind?
Nope. I didn't even know what genre I was writing in. I just wrote it.
Okay.
I just wrote what was in my head and just went from it. In fact, I had 2 rounds of beta readers, and I questioned them about what genre they thought it belonged in because I had no clue.
Ah.
Had no clue. I knew that there was magical realism in there, but I had no clue
Mhm.
where it belonged. I thought maybe general fiction, but and that's
Right.
boring, right? And then somebody mentioned that the book was quite lyrical and that literary fiction seemed to be an appropriate genre for it. And the more I thought about it, I thought, well, that sounds really good. Adult literary fiction with magical realism. That's my genre.
Mm. I
Because
like it.
yeah, yeah. I wrote this book as a memoir 14
Mhm.
years ago, and I was just thinking about my grandfather. Like I said, I wanted to capture his soul, and
Mhm.
so I wrote about the memories. But when I reread what I wrote, I'm like, I thought nobody would want to read that on the commercial market. Nobody's going to want to read something so boring as that. So I turned around and I'm like, well, I'm going to have to lie, become this great fiction writer and lie my butt off and just add
Right.
details that don't exist and magical elements that are so fantastic that it ended up being better than I thought it was.
Well, that's good. And it's always good when you're to write whatever comes to mind. So you didn't plot out a nice little outline or
Oh no, this book is completely different than any of the other books I've written. It
okay.
was a 100% free write, whatever came to mind. It was such a mess and a chaos that I had to purchase a program to organize everything. Let me tell you, the grandfather's tie, it changes per scene, right? And the
Mhm.
ties weren't matching with the scenes. I had to change everything. And then I had to add scenes and do more additions. And it was a mess. And basically, I tell everyone that's exactly why it took me 14 years to write it. I've learned my lesson. Everything is going to be organized from now on.
So the books that you're currently writing, you did a nice little outline and know where you're going with
Yeah.
things.
I go through that mind mapping.
Mhm.
I take my index cards out. I just let that free thought flow on those index cards, and then I start organizing them. And then I put them in 3 sections, like Act 1, Act 2, Act
Mhm.
3. Well, what has to happen here to get to there? And then I start organizing it per chapter and what needs to go here and what needs to go there. And then when it comes to the time to write it, then it just flows naturally
Mhm.
because I know what needs to go in there and, things just happen magically.
So the index cards, are those physical index cards or
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, it's the only way I can get the thoughts down and move them around as I need them. And
Mhm.
you'll see my entire I think I took a picture of me doing this once. I had the entire dining room floor covered in index cards.
Nice.
Now I have a studio, so I have this nice big wall I can just pin those index cards to.
I understand the index cards. I haven't done that for the story portion, but I have done it for my characters. So I have like this huge stack of index cards that I've used for my characters.
That's
Just
funny because I just develop my characters as I go along. Okay, what's this person supposed to do? And what's their, yeah, okay, they need to do this. Oh, yeah, I need to add a little bit here and there. Yeah, okay.
well, some of the characters, their index cards did come after the characters were made and written into the story. It was like, okay, we have these two characters. Okay. And actually, the one that I used it the most on was my fantasy novel. And so it was like, okay, here's all the little characters and here's all the little, you know, elements. Okay, we'll put these together. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that somebody else uses the index cards.
Yes, yes. I'm not the only one. And I use a program too that also uses index cards digitally. So it's really
Which,
helpful to have those.
which program are you using?
I'm using Scrivener.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I dabble. I think I used Scrivener for my first one, but the other two I've gone to Papyrus Author.
I haven't
Yeah.
heard of that one.
Yeah, it's lesser known. Um, and I have no idea how I found it at this point because it's been too many years ago. Uh,
Uh-huh.
but it's one that I really like because it ties in the character names and highlights them when you spell them correctly.
Right.
So that keeps you spelling them the right way.
Spelling your character's name the wrong way. Wow, I haven't had that problem yet. Yet.
I had that in one of mine because it was the character's name was Vicky, and at one point I was spelling it with an IE, and then somehow it ended up with just an I. And
Oh my gosh.
my editor wanted to know how she was spelling her name because my editor's name is Vicky.
Yeah, leave it up to the editor to find that.
And she goes, so how are we spelling my name in here? I'm like, I okay.
That's fantastic.
The things you come across.
Hmm.
Awesome. So what other events are you going to be at?
Oh,
Or
sure. I do have my book launch event coming up on August 22nd, right here in St. Clair County, at the Donald Dodge Auditorium, right behind the St. Clair County Library. We outgrew the Raven Cafe, so much so that I'm almost sold out at the Donald Dodge. I only have one seat left. It just became available.
nice.
But we are taking a waiting list because that auditorium can also fit additional more people than what I have limited to.
Nice.
And we're opening it up to a book signing afterwards. So we're going to open it up to the public as soon as the event is done. I've hired an actor to do my reading because I'm personally not comfortable with doing readings.
Not
I
a
tried it
problem.
once. I did try it once just to say I tried it. But I wasn't comfortable the entire time, and I just, if I'm going to do readings, I'm going to hire somebody for it. And he's a really good actor. He's done Ren Fairs. He's been a pirate captain at Ren Fairs, and he was just
Oh,
featured in Shark
nice.
Tank rather recently as Jarvis the Butler, in this last March. Actually, he did a great job.
Awesome.
And his name is Michael O'Hare. So he's coming from the west side of the state, from Grand Rapids, to do my reading at the event. And then I'll do a short presentation and a Q&A, and then a book signing right afterwards.
Nice.
And that's at 4 p.m. on August 22nd.
Okay. And then
And it's
what
completely free, and I'm offering
awesome.
food for everyone.
And then do you have anything scheduled between August and November's?
Not yet. Not
Not
yet. I'm a little, I like I said, I'm part-time, so I
yeah.
can only do so much. But I'd like to get an event scheduled in September and one in October too. So I'm still got my feelers out there to see if there's anything else I could do.
Okay. Well, there are. We have we being Creative Slingers of Ink. We have some Meet the Author events that are coming up. We do them on a monthly basis,
Hmm.
and they are over in Canton and Novi at Sweetwater's Coffee and Teas.
Hmm.
Um, and there's between 2 and 5 authors per shift. So especially at the Novi location, we can do 5 authors per shift,
Hmm.
and we try to vary what those genres are so that you don't have too much overlap. Um, and then at the Canton one, we can do 3 easily, possibly 4 or 5. It really depends on how they're laid out and
Hmm.
what all they have going on that day. Sweetwater's Coffee and Tea has been fabulous with working with us with having author events there.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so that's one thing that you can consider doing.
Uh-huh.
Um, and there's always lots of arts and crafts shows around, especially coming into the holidays, fall and holiday shows. There's tons of them out there that I have actually found very easy to get into because
Hmm.
being an author, you will be one of the only authors or very few that are there. So, yeah.
Sounds
Awesome.
good.
Well, I am looking forward to seeing you in November in person.
Hmm. I am too.
I I am really looking forward to this event because there are so many new to me authors, uh,
Hmm.
which I think is just fabulous. So, anyway, thank you for joining me. So glad that you can be a part of this, and I look forward to seeing you in November.
Thank you, Mandy. I appreciate it.